Hello everyone, welcome to CripChat, your weekly podcast on everything disability.
Thank you, Jonathan, for that. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode. I got with me Jonathan. Hello, David. Welcome. So, what are we going to be talking about?
We're going to be talking about being inclusive of education and non-inclusive.
Oh, so inclusive education versus special education. I guess lasting effects of segregation.
Yeah, the lasting of segregation. But is it really safe to actually mix them together, two different educations, or what are the positives and the negatives of mixing them and not mixing them?
That's a very good question, David, for the viewers out there. So David wants to know if you mix special education as well as the mainstream education together, what are the pros and cons for that?
Well, I see if you practice segregation at such a young age, it reinforces that we're different all others, and it has lifelong effect.
Thank you for that, Jonathan. It sounds ideal that we are, coming together in education. However, it can be difficult for people that are on the spectrum to get some kind of education when there is loud noises around them. Generally, for people that are young, they won't have much understanding as to why people behave the way that they do. And so that could be a disadvantage because it can create chaos. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying that it's better if people were segregated. But in saying that, and not everyone with a disability is labeled under the one. So in saying that, it doesn't mean that a person with an intellectual barrier, it doesn't mean that they both have to be classified as people with disability and be put in a special school together. It depends on the type of disability that you have. We just got actually a comment from Sarah. So how do you cater for all disabilities in mainstream? That's a very good question. And disabilities, ideally, we won't work in a mainstream, society. And so that's where I guess the idea of segregation, comes into play. David, what are your thoughts?
You can mix people, but you need a teacher that's with the person that's got disability.
People that are trained and have the experience of working with people with, disability, or people that are on the spectrum, so they have behavioral, I guess, barriers.
If we started this off from kindergarten for every child, we won't have a problem. Other people will experience, now we're playing catch up. The kids would have had experience because it would have not been new to them.
Yeah.
If you just start from now, you're going to have to play catch up. That's when you're going to need teachers, special teachers to help others to catch up. Once we all get into the flow of it, we wouldn't have to play catch up no more. Only new students have to play catch up. Then they get experience. So all of this is about experience and trial and having someone to support them.
I think when in the classroom, we can have what you call special classes, which I'm pretty sure it's the case. Not segregate them as in separate them from the rest of the people. Make them engage during recess or lunch. With the the other students on a lot of skills, like networking skills, communication skills.
You don't want them to feel left out. But also, some of them that are very good at what they do with their disability can be treated as if they have no disability.
So they won't have the supports.
Yeah, the way the person that says for support, they support someone else. It's more got more disability than I do. They just forget about it.
More disability than I do, huh? So we have different levels of disability, huh? Interesting. Just a comment from Sarah. So the government refuses to improve the education system. They make it too hard. So will they integrate disabled kids? So, yeah, so everyone has their own, I guess, learning styles. Yeah, it can be a challenge, to ideally pull people together based on their level of education. But in saying that, you often have in a classroom the gifted child, the not so gifted child. So, yeah, where do you go from there? Well, I think that most schools would have this anyway. There needs to be different certifications, different levels at which a student would, I guess, do their studies. It doesn't mean that they're not smart or they're too smart. It just means that they would require more support than a person who is, very smart or is a technically a genius, as you would call it. There has been some changes to the reform, as most of you have read, in which the special eds being normal in I think the year 2051. So this is why we brought up this topic. Alright, so we got a comment from Sarah. Yes, and the method of teaching is hard for the brain. Yeah, I agree. It's something we need to work on, teachers as well as students, and how do we match both. Now we'll be talking about our year in review. It's been an awesome year with everyone here at CripChat. And so I asked everyone, what has been your favorite topic or favorite guest speaker for would you like for us to talk about in the new year?
Standout topic, I've liked them all. The one I liked was the technology and also the disaster one.
So emergency preparedness.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. And assistive technology, I think they're two very hot topics. How about you, John? What was your favorite topic for the year?
My favorite topic was
The advocacy is always a favorite topic. Especially having guest speakers like Mr. Riven himself, talk about advocacy that are out in the community advocating like needy that joined us. Yeah, and also we've got, Dr. Papadi, who spoke to us about, the medical, I guess, side of things as a person with a disability. Some awesome leaders in the space, like Samantha Connor, as well as Andrew Fairbairn, who are both presidents of their respected organizations. So we got some idea on how advocacy works from their point of view and from their organization. And so we have to, I guess, bring in more guests. We also had our talk with what's that, Alistair McEwen, who's awesome and what he does. Keep up the good work. A nice humble bloke. I had the honor of interviewing. And so we continue this ability. How would you reflect on it, David? What did you enjoy about this year, and what are you looking forward to next year?
If there was things that I don't know, I do know now, and it's very knowledgeable. And that allows you to understand that there are things out there, and it helps you connect with others. We might have got a disability ourselves, but you learn from others that have other disabilities.
Yeah.
And if we were to learn from each other from when we were younger, back at school, we'll have no problems with knowing other people's disabilities and how others actually treat you. Realize that people in your own family, because they've grown up with you and they've known your disability from when you're young, know how to treat you better than others.
Yeah, because I've had that experience.
Because they've had the experience from when they were young. We want to be disabled and proud.
That's what it's all about, you know?
How
do we do
do you think the sense of separation at a young age permeates through to adulthood, having special places for people with disabilities.
So the idea of segregation permeates. Yes.
Yeah.
People, I guess, like I mentioned before, won't get the skills required to interact with other humans. They'll be shy. They'll be marginalized from society. They'll be too afraid to communicate to people because they didn't have the chance when they were young, to do those things. And so this is why I throw my hat off to carers, support workers who take care of people with disability. Well, I use the word take care lightly, but support those individuals. But once they reach adulthood, if they don't gain the skills needed to live more independently, they're gonna have a hard time blending into society, mixing, with society, becoming a part of society. People that are segregated in schools, do you think that would permeate into adulthood? Would that carry on with them through to adulthood? What are your thoughts, David?
Yes, it would.
Yep.
It would, because if you got it from young, they won't know any better.
Yeah, so they'll be shy.
That's why you want to get everyone involved from when they're young, so they're not shy. Until I became blind, I had to speak out because then I missed out.
Yeah, reconnect with your community. But you have to, I guess, learn from scratch. But learn through, I guess,
learn how to communicate differently to others.
What's your final thoughts on this topic?
My final thoughts are, if we're gonna be inclusive with technology or with education, start it from the beginning. If we don't start it from when they're young, there's a lot of perks in that. Others learn, you learn, people with disability learn, and different situations. So it's all a learning curve. As you can tell, learning curves only get better by experience.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Thank you for sharing, David. Jonathan, a few words.
My final thought is, if we want to truly inclusive society, we need to move towards a more integrated education system, because if we just keep the status quo, we teach society that we're separate from society.
Thank you for that, Jonathan. So moving into interrelated system.
Then realistic time frame.
Within a realistic time frame, yeah?
And
Cool. Thank you for that, Jonathan.
Hey,
I
what's your
guess
final thought, Ibby?
I guess my final thoughts is that ideally we shouldn't all be labeled under disability. Everyone has diverse abilities, and they should be put into that one, I guess, class. But rather also it'll be good to be mixed with mainstream society. However, it's not for everyone. People on the spectrum itself. So how do we do with that? We'll need to make schools more inclusive. What does that mean for us? We'll just have to look into it, and hopefully in the next couple of years we'll work towards becoming more inclusive. What that means, only time will tell. But in saying that, we will be having a 2-week break, CripChat Australia. So let us wrap up by just saying that we wish everyone a happy holiday. Enjoy your break for the people out there, and just live a healthy and good life. Stay safe, everyone. You have been watching CripChat, your weekly podcast on everything similarly. Merry Christmas for the people that celebrate it, and also a very happy new year from Australian Disability. But for now, we will see you next time. Goodbye, everyone.